Welcome to Vancouver Carpenter. I recently had someone ask me what I do to stop all my drywall knives from getting scratches and dings in them. So I built this little case about 8 years ago, and it's pretty basic, but it is held together for a long time. First, let's look at what I keep in here, and then we'll look at how it's built. So it's pretty simple. I've got my 12-inch knife and a 1-inch knife. And then from here, it kind of goes in increments of 12. So I have my 10-inch, my 2-inch. 8-inch, 4-inch. And then I often keep 2 6-inches just because there's space. 5-inch, 3-inch, prison shank. This is for getting into weird corners. On this side, the hawk fits nicely. Mask is always good. 12-inch trowel, because I use this one the most. Tools I don't use, you guys know about that. Sanding sponge, flathead screwdriver and Phillips screwdriver. Paint scraper, these are really handy for when you're having to put corner beads onto a wall that has already had a corner bead, or when you need to dig out an old butt joint. Another pokey stabby for getting into tight corners. A knife that I trimmed down to under 1 inch. Snips. And another knife. And of course I often have a tape measure in here too. As for how it is built, it's a little bit hefty, but it stood the test of time. And the other thing, since this is so boxy and square, things stack on top of it really well. And I've never had my blades and all that stuff get damaged and dented. Now, if I was going to redo it, I would do the outside of this with 1/2-inch plywood to make it lighter. But basically, I just used carpenter's glue and a staple gun to put this thing together. It was really simple. So these are just strips of 3/4-inch plywood with some little spacers between each one. I definitely think I would use 3/4-inch plywood again here, mostly because it helps space things out properly. So in between all the 3/4-inch plywood, I think I have like 1/4-inch spacers. But if you tried to do it any tighter with 1/2-inch plywood, what happens is you don't have enough room for your handles. So you would have to add big spacers in there, and then everything would be really sloppy in these little slots. So I think this actually works out quite well, but the 3/4-inch plywood definitely makes it a bit hefty. But as you can see, I mean, I just stapled all of these together consecutively through these little shims. This was just stapled here with glue. See, we've got this bottom here was just stapled on, and of course screws for the handle. It's really basic, works real nice. And the overall dimensions for this, for anyone wondering, is it is 11 inches outside to outside, 17.5 inches outside to outside, and that's with 3/4-inch plywood. So inside to inside I have 16 inches. And in between these, I have 9.5 inches. The height, 12 inches. Next, let's get into trowels. So for trowels, I just used one of these, and also for my taping tools. So I carry around all of these, you know, like the fishing lures, the taping tools, right? That go on the end of a pump or on the end of a pole. Those are my semi-production taping tools. And then next we get into all the big trowels. So those all pretty nicely fit in here. I got the 20-inch, I got the 16-inch, 14-inch, and then I have this little 10-inch that I never use because, I don't know, it's just too small. Don't use it for anything. They have to go back in a certain order or they don't go in, but you know, it works. That's not the order. That's how I stop those from getting all scratched up and beat up. And the last thing is my bucket. So I usually have 2 buckets here. One of them is for holding water and one of them is for mixing quick sets. But in the bucket we have, of course, the mixing drill, the brush, very handy, mixing paddle, wouldn't be without that, and a pan. And all of that seems to tuck pretty nicely in here. And I also very often have my tape spool tucked onto there, or it could just be a couple rolls of tape. And this guy's often on here. And that's my basic taping kit, you guys. That's how I carry everything around. I've been doing it like this for, you know, a decade. Seems to work for me. Well, that's it. That's how I like to carry my tools around. So I just want to say thanks for watching, you guys. And I'm going to link all of the tools I like to use in the description below. I do have an Amazon associate account, so if you do make purchases there, it helps me out, it helps out the channel. You're helping put a little food on my family's table. So I want to say thank you guys for that, for anyone who has been making any of those purchases. It really helps out on those lean months. And that's all I have to say, you guys. This is how I carry my tools around. Let me know what you guys do. What's your rig? What's your setup? Leave that in the comments below. Thank you guys. Till the next video. I gotta go film that next video. Can't just sit here talking to you.